All right, so what's going on, VS? I got this is Wookersz, and I got here with me Chaos, and today we're are going to go over familiars. And for people who aren't familiar with familiars, this will be a good opportunity for you to get familiar with them and how they work and what they do and how you can best utilize them to make your turf stronger. So um, I guess I'll just turn it over to Chaos and let him start with familiars, and he can. So I'm recording from my computer, and but we have it set up where he can see my screen. So if Chaos needs me to move anywhere, I can do that. So if he wants to talk about something specific, I can just move my screen and he can see what's going on.
Okay, now I'm done with soup.
So where would you like to start with familiars here, Chaos?
Okay, well, basically, I think I'm going to start at basics. I'm sure 99% of you guys know this, but just in case, we will cover it for those that don't. So, in your turf, you have gyms, spires, and what's the other one?
The monster hold.
Uh, the spring. So, the gym gives you a boost on the amount of experience you get while you're training the familiars. So you need to get your familiar from level 1 to level 60 before you can fully max any of the stats. So gyms are very important to have. The spires give you the amount of packs that you're going to be able to train in one set. So if you have one spire at level 25, you can train 9 packs at a time. Now, there are familiars that will boost that, so keep that in mind with your build. Springs are very important because you need to have anima to be able to uh, train stuff. Without anima, or sorry, not train, but use packs. Without anima, you can't build packs. So you're either pulling from your bag or you're relying on your spires to supply you with what you need. Now, with my build, I have pretty much all my packs unlocked and all the metals that I need for them. So I have one spire, one spring, and the rest are gems because I have to push everything to level 60. So I want as much experience for the time spent in the gym as possible. Now, first off, we're going to touch on the attack familiars. And the ones that I like the most are in pack 3, and they are Trickster because it gives your ranged troops a boost. The other one would be the Gemming Gremlin, and he is good for
So
infantry attack.
if we look at Trickster, right? You're saying that he gives what boost?
Ranged troops.
So, and that's on his astral assistance skill, right?
Well, yes, that's for your basic skills. With the new update with the red orbs, you can actually increase his what they call an army talent. A lot of times you guys see in the darkness rallies where these familiars walk up and they boost our troops. That is from their army attack talent. So you can see here on Wooks that he has his level 5. So when 10% of your ranged troops fall, they get a 36% attack boost. So like, let's just say, like for instance, if Wooks has a 400% range attack, when 10% of his troops fall in the rally, he then goes to 436%, and it stacks. And so I think that it can stack up to 10 times. So I've seen 8 anyways in a rally, but I'm not sure exactly how many times it stacks. So as you lose 10%, it recalculates, and then you get another boost, and then it recalculates, and then you get another boost. You'll see them if you ever watch the video on darkness rallies or war rallies. You'll actually see the familiars walk up and give another boost, give another boost, give another boost, and that's based on every time you lose 10% of your troops. So if you got a 1 million troop rally, you lose 100K, you get your familiar boost, and then they recalculate whatever it is. So if you're down to 900K, I guess if you lose 90K, you get another 10% boost, and then it recalculates, and it keeps going like that. So as long as your morale holds up, you can keep getting your familiar boost, which is related to your army attack, and that will be a future video, I'm sure. So these guys are huge. If you want to attack, And you don't want to, because there are actually quite a few red orb hell events coming out lately that I've been posting in chat. I'm sure you've noticed. But you can level them up just from completing hell events. They are expensive to do. I think I've seen a chart where I think to get them maxed out to level 10, it's around 800 orbs per familiar. So doing hell events and getting them for free is a big thing. So after that, we have the gemming gremlin, and he will add infantry attack. So same thing, depending on what level you have him at, uh, he will add a certain boost to your thing. Like you see, if you get him all the way to level 10, that's 100% when 10% of your things fall. So once again, using that 400% baseline, if Wooks has a 400% infantry attack, when 10% of his troops fall, he gets a 100% boost to that. So that would be like an 800% boost, right? So it's huge as far as I'm concerned. Um, they are super overpowered.
Yeah,
Some of the
that's
guilds that I've fought against, they don't even send their leader. They'll send a full T2 march with maxed out familiars, and they will zero front lines, and then they start sending their leader and zeroing castles. And like I'm talking 1 billion like castles falling because of familiar.
wow.
So these guys are crazy. They are definitely worth the time and the money to spend on them. The other one that will boost your troops is Gold Goblin, and he adds your cavalry attack.
Hey, which
Same
one?
thing.
Which one
If you,
here?
it's your Gold Goblin. Should be
Uh,
pack 3.
oh, just regular
Oh,
goblin.
there he is.
Yep.
Yeah, just Gold Goblin. Yeah, same thing. He has all 3 of these familiars all add at level 10 100% to your stat. So they're huge to get. Um, a lot of you guys have Pyrus. Pyrus will add a hero boost. I just unlocked this myself, and so far I'm loving it. I used it on that last rally against the darkness, and what it does, it gives all your heroes a certain percentage of boost. So if they have a 200% squad attack, uh, at first level you get 206%. If you max it, you get 260% squad attack. It's a pretty big deal. Um, and now, as far as defense goes, I'm not an overly knowledgeable guy on defense, so I know there are certain ones that will add baseline instant stats, they call them. I think Gnome is one of them. Yes, Gnome is one of them. He's a Pact 2, I believe. Let me just see here. Uh,
Yeah.
what is
So
it?
gnome is at the
Pact
start of
1B.
battle increases range attack by 1.5%.
Yes, at max you get 15%.
15%. Yeah.
Yeah. So that guy, for instance, he's Pact 1B. So he's really easy to use. And if you see the amount of red orbs needed to just unlock them, you only need a simple 20 orbs. For those Pact 3 ones I was talking about, I think you need 80 orbs to unlock the skill. So these ones are really cheap, and they are not related to the certain amount of troops that fall. They're just an instant boost at the beginning of the battle. You get so once again that 400% attack. Well, all of a sudden, if you have this guy maxed out, all of a sudden your attack's at 415. Just instant boost. So they're definitely these are what I would call trap familiars, because with a trap you don't want to wait for 10% of your troops to fall. Like for instance, my rally trap, 10% of its troops is over 1 million troops. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? I'm
Yep.
not going to give exact numbers because this is going on YouTube. But so I have to have over 1 million troops fall before 10% of my boost comes in. So that you don't ever want to use those 10% boost familiars on a rally trap or a trap. You want to rely on familiars like this that would give you instant boost. And there's one of those for every troop type. I'm not, like I said, I'm not exactly sure on all of them. But all you have to do is click on the familiar, click army talent, and it will tell you.
So
Um,
on a lot of familiars, they have their regular skills, and
yes,
like if you look at like Blackwing, right? He has army attack 1.25%.
yes,
So people that are kind of new to that, is that worth leveling up?
No, because for instance, like Blackwing is actually a pay to play hero. The only way you can get Blackwing is by buying bundles from the mall.
Yes.
Or you can get him from that. What do they call that building? It is the. It's where you go through the maze. Like
Oh, the
tycoon, the
labyrinth
tycoon.
or
Sorry.
the tycoon. Yeah, that's where I've got him from. Was a
Like,
tycoon.
yeah, you get him from the tycoon. But I've seen level level 3, which would be level elder. I think they're around 200 medals, for instance, on like Blackwing. So, like as you can see, it takes you 25 just to get from hatchling to the next level, which still doesn't unlock that final skill, right? So, I've seen reports where it's like $1,300 to max these familiars out.
Oy.
Yeah, so they're not really ones that players like us would like. Even myself, I don't buy these packs.
So, but
Um,
even if you like
they're
for me,
champion.
I don't plan on buying Blackwing packs ever. But since
Mhm.
I have him from the tycoon, I might as well level up this skill just to get additional army attack, right?
Oh, a dish? Oh, for sure, for
Yeah, I
sure.
mean, because
But
it's just
you'll be capped at like level 3 or level 4. So
yeah,
don't ever hope to fully get. Don't ever look at what you're gonna get when you're on the level 10
yeah,
and maxed out, because
because that's never
unless
going to
you want to
happen.
spend over $1,000.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
So what I
But
do when I level up skills, um, every day at reset, what I do is if you go to level up a skill, this how right now how it says 216 and that's a lot of fragments to use. At the beginning of every day it goes from like 12 fragments and then the 24 and then the like 36. So I do like two or three skill ups every day.
yeah, I do 3 myself. Yeah,
And yeah, because other than that it just gets way too expensive to keep doing it. So every day at reset I do two or three skill ups and then wait till the next day.
yeah, exactly. That's a great tip. Yeah, that way you always keep your familiars upgrading, especially even those first 3 that I talked about. Um, well, actually, not all 3 of those, because there's actually the Trickstar, the Mole Shaman, and the Rhinoceros. They add base stats to your troops,
Yes.
respectively, for you know. So those should be maxed first. With as far as I'm concerned, anything that focuses on attack should be maxed first. Health should be focused on secondly, and defense stats
Third.
last.
Yep, I
That will make your
100% agree. Yep. I also
that will
use
make you as strong as can be.
yep. And you should go through each one of these and just look at the skills that they have. And it's very easy to see which ones give what. I mean, I use Terrorite. Um so
Yeah,
Netherquake,
good, because
uh,
you get free
free
fragments and you get
fragments.
increased amount of packs. Yeah,
And then his army talent's nice too because at the start of battle it reduces enemies' army defense by 12%. And it's just a
yeah,
debuff. And since
exactly. Yep.
right now I've been working a lot on my research. That's not the research building. I've been working on army leadership and getting my debuffs done, my sabotage, my plague, and demoralize. If I get all
Yeah.
those maxed out plus have a maxed out terrorite, that's a nice debuff to an enemy that you're attacking.
Oh yeah, for sure, big time. Yeah, yeah. Anytime you can take away health from an enemy, they're gonna lose morale faster,
Yep.
right? So, and that's yeah, honestly, every battle, if you ever watch it, is a battle of morale.
Yep.
Your troops fight until you got zero morale. As soon as you got zero morale, it's over.
It's
You're
over.
done.
Yep. I'm also working on Heldrider, the Pack 4, because his level 3 skill, I mean, you get 15,000 random T4 troops every 3 days. And
Yes,
that's huge.
it is huge. I have that on mine, and it's very nice.
Yes. And
And
I,
thankfully, knock on wood, I've only gotten destroyers a few
yeah.
times.
And even his first skill, like you said, do attack first, health second. Um, he has infantry max health. So just everybody really needs to go through the familiars and identify which ones you want to work on. Like I'm kind of I don't focus on I should focus on one thing at a time. I'm just kind of everywhere with mine. I'm like, I'll upgrade this and upgrade that, and eventually they'll all be maxed. But I think the way you do it's probably better is working on attack first, and then hit points, and then defense. I kind of jump back and forth between attack and hit points, but that's just me.
Oh yeah, no. Well, everybody has their own style of game too, right?
Yes,
Uh, I play very aggressively, so I'm all about attack, right?
yes. Okay, cool. Well,
Uh,
that's I think that's a good explanation of familiars that basically these skills that you can level up, and as soon as you level up you get that bonus immediately because it says it's a permanent effect. So
yeah,
and then what you were saying on the ones that you want to get the battle uh, skill unlocked,
yeah. On the army
the
talent,
army
yep.
talent, they have to be elder level 60, and then you can unlock their army talent and then level those up. And
Well, actually, they only have to be level 50.
oh,
Once they're
50.
level 50, you can, yeah, because as soon as you're 50, you can elder them, but you
Okay.
can't max the skill to level 10 until they're at 60.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah,
So I use gemming Gremlin a lot. I got his stroke of fortune up to level 9 just because, I mean, every 2 days I get 1 to 2,000 gems.
yep,
So
you know it.
that's
I've got the same guy. He's a wonderful one. Same with familiar, or sorry, trickstar.
yeah,
He will give you free holy, or yeah, holy stars
yep,
for free shots in the labyrinth. You know,
yep. That's why I got that
I've
at
had
level
over
8.
I've had over 60K free stars just sitting in my bag because of that familiar right there.
Yep, and
So it,
I love free stuff, and like if you look at my familiar skills, I'm sure I think you probably have more, but it's like I go through the list. I get free stamina. I can resupply my cargo ship. I can get the free lucky stars. I can max out my construction bar helps. I get free fragments. I get free gold. I get uh, free lucky stars, and pretty soon, as soon as I get Helldrider up, I'll get free T4 troops. So it's like I look for that too. It's like what free stuff can I get from familiars, and how do I get that?
exactly, and being that you mentioned that one for your construction help, um, those familiars are great for doing a hell event. There's actually one I can't remember his name right off the top of my head, but there's one that will max your research bar also.
Oh, really? I
So if
haven't
you're ever
seen that one.
doing, yeah, I think it's sorcerer or something along those lines. But
Huh?
so if you're ever doing a hell event and you're like begging for help and nobody just happens to be online, um, or sorry, not sorcerer, I guess, but one that looks like sorcerer. But I can look in mine too. So if you're ever like online and you're begging for help and nobody just seems to be clicking help, there's a familiar you can just go click. Your help bar is full, so that could save you depending on your research that you're doing. That could save you like 4, 5, 10 days, anything. Like depends on what you're doing, right? So it's definitely worth looking at doing uh, these familiar.
And then
And
Harpy gives free VIP points. I haven't unlocked that yet, but that's I've talked to a few guildmates that were like, "Oh, how do I get VIP points? I want to up my level without having to pay, to do that." I'm like, "Well, level up Harpy."
yes, and the Harpy helped me push the VIP 15 huge. And VIP 15 is a giant boost to all your stats. Or even if you're only VIP 12, I think it is, and you need to get to 13 to be able to one-click guild gifts. That is a huge thing because if you're not one-click guild gifts, especially with VS, because we do so much hunting, you're going to be clicking that thing till your fingers sore.
Yeah, yeah. So
So they're very helpful.
the familiar. I was looking through the familiars, and the familiar you were talking about is Magus. Um,
Oh, okay, there.
So his bottom skill that you unlock at Elder Stage fills up your help bar for ongoing research. Like what you said would be awesome if like you're trying to do a hell event and you're trying to like, hey, people click on help and nobody's clicking. Well, you could just activate that skill. And
Exactly,
the
especially for a watcher or something where you're doing a big research. Those are huge help.
and the cooldown on that at level 10 is only 8 hours. So that's every 8 hours you could start a new research and max it out immediately.
That's actually I didn't know it was only 8 hours. That's
Yeah, but
huge.
like,
That's
but
really
for
quick.
level 1, it's 4 days. So that's a huge difference.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it's the time invested, right? Like they're all more you like Hoarder, for instance. I have Hoarder for free jewels,
Yes.
and I get free jewels every 3 days or 2 days from him because
Yeah,
he's level 10. So, and it's huge. I've actually got a gold attack jewel from him.
that's awesome.
So like it, not very often, but a lot of times I get my wonderful wall jewels or trap jewels. But that goes to say because that's all you get in the packs too. So
Yes.
but it's still it's free jewels, and if anybody who knows anything about attacking knows that jewels are that hidden secret because you can only get gear so far, and then you have to rely on your jewels to take you the rest of the way.
Each yellow jewel gives you 20% attack, and that's huge. And
Exactly.
you can have how many pieces of gear you got? Six.
7, I think.
One, two, three, four, five, six. Okay, 8 pieces of gear.
8 pieces. So that's 160% if you had all gold jewels.
Yeah, and I've talked to a lot of guildies too, saying it's like I want these jewels, but I'm mostly a free to play player. How can I get jewels? Well, work on unlocking Pact 4 and then level up Hoarder. And every 3 days, if you level it up to level 10, every 3 days you'll get 3 random jewels. And I mean, over time, that's like 30 jewels a month.
Yeah,
So
that's huge.
it is
Really,
it is very huge. So
that's probably the equivalent to $30 worth of jewel packs a month for free just for having that familiar.
absolutely, and some of the guildies, they a question I get asked a lot is, what do I work on first? And that comes into familiars, it comes into research, it comes into gear, and I always tell them the same thing. I was like, well, what do you want to do? Um, that is going to determine what you should work on first. Like if your main focus is monster hunting because you're trying to get items to upgrade your gear, then work on monster hunting. If and that comes to familiars too.
Yep.
If your intent on the game is to go burn people, then work on the attack familiars that you were talking about. If your object is to accumulate gems, work on gemming gremlin, or if it's a research, work on magus. If that's your main objective. If your My main objective for a while was upgrading my heroes, and so I was working on Aquarius because the refreshed skill gives me 50 to 85 stamina every 14 hours. So I've stopped
Exactly. Yep.
working on him, but that was, because your goals constantly change in the game. So look at all the familiars, go through every one of them, and look at what they have to offer, and compare that to what you want to work on, and then work on that if it suits your playstyle.
Great, great tip. Great tip.
But I think that that really covers familiars pretty well. Uh, I don't know much else that we could really add besides, like we talked about buildings earlier. Get familiar with the buildings. Every building has an
Yep.
information tab, and this is the Mystic Spire, and you just go to information, and it tells you at what levels, how many packs you can merge at a time, and then the gyms. You go to the information button, and it tells you uh, the familiar training level experience boost, and so you're going to have to strike a balance between how many packs you want to make at a time, how much experience that you want to have when leveling up your familiars and how much anima you need to do it, and then strike a balance. And everyone's
Yeah,
different.
actually, I'll actually add to that a little bit because if you think about it, for when you're training troops, if you're going to do a huge troop train, you take down some infirmaries, you build manners to increase your training speed.
Yes.
For instance, when I did my familiars, I did the exact same thing except for with the familiar building. So the spire will increase your pack merging speed. So I went down to one or two gyms, one or not spire, spring, and then I went to full springs. So I could train pack four as fast as I could because pack four is a grunt, and that's where the super hard to get familiars are, right? So
Yes.
I would each one gives you a 20% increase on your pack time. So if you go a little bit of gyms, max out your springs, get all the familiar packs that you need to turn your stuff to elder, then tear down your springs and build gyms so you can push the experience really fast. It's the same thing as doing troops, right? But
Yes.
it takes a little bit of time to do the build, but I think it's well worth the time invested to do that.
So what you're saying is what your strategy was is that you wanted a lot of mystic spires to begin with because they increase the packs,
No, no springs.
your
Sorry, I
springs.
might have said the wrong one. You want springs because springs increase your pack merging speed.
Okay. And it's okay. So I'm looking at springs right now. It says patch merging speed boost. So if you have a level 25 spring, that increases your pack merging speed by 20%.
Exactly. So if
Not,
you put five of those together, you're increasing your speed by 100%.
yep, absolutely. So you did that to get all the packs that you needed for Pact 4 to get all your Pact 4 familiars enough skill stones to get them to Elder, and then you tore them down and built gyms.
Yes.
So that way
Right
you could
now, my
train them as fast as possible.
exactly, and I'm still sitting in that build right now. Like for instance, I have one spire, one spring, and two, four, six gyms.
Because you,
Right now, that's my current build.
since you already have all enough of your stuff to upgrade your familiars, you really don't even really need Mystic Spires anymore, except for the fragments to upgrade your skills.
Well, yeah, I'm still pushing pack two. I'm not pushing it very hard now that I unlocked Pyrus, but I'm doing 2A right now, for instance. So for me to do one set of pack 2A, which is 11 packs for me, it is 211K. But with one spring, I I have a full bag, a bar of 1.3 million. So I can push five packs before need to even dip into my bags.
Very
So
nice.
for me, that build is nice because I don't really push those too much anymore. Because for me, the useful familiars are pack three and four.
Yes.
There isn't much in pack one and two that I need, right? So I need the experience to get my guys to level 60 so I can get every skill to level 10 and max everything out as fast as I can. That's what I'm focusing on. So
Okay. That's good information.
the
Well,
same theory as pushing troops, really. You know what I
yeah.
mean? Like if you're gonna push a million troops, you want to go full manners and push your million troops and then build your hospitals back up.
Yeah, that's what I've always told people. That's a question I get all the time is how many manners to infirmaries do I need? And I always tell people the same thing. If you're on a troop building blitz, tear down every single infirmary you have and build all manners. And
Absolutely.
and then just blitz out your troops. And then when you're happy with the amount of troops that you have, start tearing down your manners and build infirmaries. And you don't want to do this off and on because infirmaries are very expensive to build. And
Yeah,
but when you're in troop building mode, you don't want to be warring because you want to stay in your bubble, stay protected because you don't have any infirmary space, and if you attack somebody or you get attacked, you're automatically any you won't have any injured. You'll have just dead troops. So
Yes, exactly.
so
Yeah, you don't. You live hashtag bubble life.
yes, you are definitely going to be bubble life. But as soon as you get the amount of troops that you want, start tearing down manors and start building infirmaries until you're happy with the amount of beds that you have, and then you can start warring, and then you don't have to worry so much about things because you have the troops that you want, you have the beds that you want, and any losses that you might take, and unless you get rallied or something, you're going to be able to recover those troops because you'll have enough beds. Like, for instance, I was on a troop. I got zeroed a few months ago. We had a lightning storm in my neighborhood. Our internet was out. Our power was out. My bubble went down. There was nothing I could do. It was storming outside. There was just absolutely. I could not get on the internet, and I got zeroed.
Oh,
Yeah, and I contacted IGG about it. I explained the situation, and they basically said tough. And
yep.
so what I did was I did exactly what we were talking about. I ripped down all my infirmaries. I built all manors, and I trained all my troops. And now that I'm happy with the amount of troops I have, as you can see, I'm building my infirmaries back, and I'm going to continue to build troops. You always want to be building troops, and then especially when I get my Helldrider leveled up and I can get those free T4 troops, I will build even more infirmaries because every 3 days I'm going to get 15,000 free troops. So I can't wait for that. And then I like having two barracks. That's just the way I like doing it. I don't like training 5,000 troops at a time. I like to be able to train 12,000 troops at a time.
Oh, exactly. But once you get Pack 4 unlocked, there's Mega Maggot, and he will give you the equivalent of that second barracks.
Really, I didn't know that. Let me look.
Yeah, level 10 is 6,000 troops added to your barrack capacity.
So let me look at Mega Maggot real quick. See, and that's why it's good because like people like they'll come to a lot of us like who are R4s and think we know everything about the game, and I don't. I mean, I can tell you what I do know, but I'm constantly learning about this game too, and that's why I like doing these videos because every person in the guild they know something that somebody else doesn't, and the more we can communicate and talk, the more we can all learn. And so I'm looking at Mega Maggot, and so we've got barracks capacity 1,000 at level 10. That's 1,500 barracks capacity.
No, that's next level. Click on the plus for where you'd go if you're going to level up that skill,
Yep.
and then click on that uh, magnifying glass that's on the picture.
So level 10 is 5,000 troops.
Yes,
So
and then I can't remember what it is, but there's a research that increases your barracks capacity. I think it's in let me see. I've got my screen up here. Let me just see here. It's upgrade military, I believe, and it's barracks expansion. Yes, it's down with innate talent and barracks expansion. When you got it max level 10 is a 20% increase. Barracks training capacity boost.
that's awesome. That is really good
Yeah,
to know. I mean, and that's why I say people need to go through each familiar and be familiar with all of them and what they do because there are so many. I gotta join this rally here. Um, there are so many things
I should do the same.
that you yeah, that you can do that you may not even know about. Um, but by talking to other people, you can like I didn't realize that Mega Maggot thing, and that's I was like, I mean I had seen it before, but it just never registered. But that's awesome now because if I can level him up, I can get rid of one of my barracks.
Yeah, well, because I have my skill at level 9. I don't have him maxed right now because he's only level 59 for experience. But I can train 10,500 troops
Yeah,
in one set
and that's
with one
great.
barrack.
That's great. And
Yeah,
that's
because
just
like if you,
go ahead.
I was gonna say, I was gonna say if you are pushing troops, like especially if you're gonna be a rally trap, T2 troops are key.
Yes.
And if you can get your T2 troops up to using one 15-hour speed up at a time, or 1,000 gems, it is way cheaper than having, say, a 6,000 troops at a time and it costing a 10-hour speed up. Where if you can do 10,000 at a time and it costs you only 800 gems or something like that, it's like it's kind of funny that way because as the time goes up, the cost gets down.
Yes.
So the more you can train in one shot, it will actually make it cheaper in the long run. I can't. I did all the math of when I pushed the troops on my trap, and I was training almost 100,000 K free troops every million I did because of the build that I had.
That's awesome.
So yeah, it was very helpful.
Well, yeah, that just shows you like how impactful that these familiars can be to your overall gameplay, and it takes a while to to get them all to where you need them, but it's definitely worth it. Just from talking to you, there's some things I think I'm going to change up now, so I can crank them out faster and train them faster. Um,
Yeah, because in all honesty, it's just all about getting to that stage where you need to be. Like for instance, everybody loves Grim Reaper. He's
yes,
very expensive to use. He's very expensive to use. I'll probably never use him.
yeah, I know.
Mine's only at mine's only at level 25 because I haven't put the time in to train him in the gyms. But I have 229 out of 200 um, required medals. So whenever I do get him to level 50, he's done. You know
Yep.
what I mean? I just hit the button and make him go to Elder. Because when you get him to, mine's already at adult stage. So the next stage after that requires 200 items to max him out. So I've got 229 from when I had my big spring build and I pushed all my packs. But now I've gone to, so I have all these things. Same with my saber fang. I've got all the medals for him to max out on my hunting speed. But I've been focusing on attack stuff, so I haven't had a chance to experience everything up. So, but I've got a full gym build right now, so I just take time. Like I think my gym time is one day, 21 hours, but it gives me almost 20,000 experience. Because with my gear on and my full gym build, I'm at 350% gym training time. So it really helps out a lot.
That does. It helps out quite a bit. Well, I don't want to run this video too long, but I think we did a pretty good job explaining everything, and I don't really know much more we could explain about familiars, but we're going to be doing some more videos for the guild later on, and it's I'd love to have you back or Falcon Crest, or I mean anybody. I mean it's I think T said she was going to come on and do one with me, so we'll just kind of spread around, cover different topics. So
Well, I appreciate you having me on,
oh,
and
absolutely,
I
man.
hope everybody learned something. Any questions? Feel free to hit me or Wooks up. We're always here to help you guys.
Absolutely. I appreciate you taking the time and coming and doing this video for or with me. So,
Anytime, buddy.
all right. Well, we'll talk to you later. Thank you.